This is going to be a quick mission dev. We're going to go over a Starship Trooper mission file, and then I'm going to go over a Black Templar mission file for next month to be run on the 9th and the 16th, and it's probably going to net me another 1 or 2 more operations. You'll see it when we get there, but I just had some coffee. I edited 3 videos out for scenarios and whatnot. I'm a little peeved over what's happened today, but c'est la vie at this point. I'm a little worried about this military base because I think Mission 2 got saved into Mission 3, which means I might not have this military base fully made, which means I have to recreate it, which is like, there goes some free work I already had done, but c'est la vie. Maybe I had it done for Op 1? Yeah, there's my meteor. Bingo. Let's get that saved and then open up Mission 6, save it as Mission 7. Then I gotta go get that announcement written up. I'm probably just gonna do we join up and see what slots we want to take, yada da. I'm gonna add a second pilot though, and we'll see how things go. Hey, Daz. But yeah, this will probably just take an hour between me doing all my missions and yada da. I've decided to put myself on a new schedule of simply editing 3 of my videos a day, making 2 mission files a day, blah blah blah, and just to help me climb out of my backlog. Now that I'm home alone for a week. And that should put me on a good track to keep going, but you know. Gotta keep on moving. Now... Boom. With the exception of, let's delete those, let's delete those, let's delete those. Garrison stands, and we should be fine from there. One of these got put on to there. And then beyond that, everything else should be a-okay. Don't need the respawn position there, and then we can update the map. To slightly reflect what's going on. Alright, Rocker, hope you're doing okay too. And since we've learned that the players are a bit dumb when it comes to these ramps, I'm going to intentionally put all of these assets to the side of the ramp. So they don't armor themselves, because they seem to really like doing that. good. Let me go ahead. Is this saved as a new file? Yes, it is. So if I just go into missions, and then we go to the previous file. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a video for this one. I want them to carry on a little ahead before we get there, but... Let me go ahead, add a blue 4 marker for the base here. Next mission should focus on that area, and then this area will focus on the final. We'll see if they push in and get through that, but... we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. I know what the ramps are in terms of actions. I just wanna... I forgot the T in the pilot right there. That's funny. I know what causes the ramps to open and close. I just want to move the items because the player base is too brain dead to not kill themselves with it. Funny enough. That's the thing about Zeusing, is you have to make it so basic at certain positions that not even a brain dead toddler can screw it up. And even then, it's... you can be reaching at that point. Oh well. We'll make it work. This is an easy mission file to make. The main difficult one is going to be the next one I'm going to work on, which we won't see until the 9th of next month, but again, just getting ahead of various projects based off of what I've been given, so yeah, it should be fine. That's an artillery position. That's going to hit that position, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. Let me go ahead and start typing up the announcement post then. That is a lot of porn someone just sent me. Okay, cool, thank you. Awesome, I guess. And now... have I done 7 missions? Or did I just mistype that? Yeah, no, I just mistyped that. I labeled the 7th mission as 7, but that's really the, You know what, I can just cheat here. We can just say that that was mission 6. Cool.
Send in Goat Team 6 now.
That's mission 7. It's the 18th, so this will be 19th at 4 p.m. Let me go ahead and open up a Discord. A timestamp note. So this is going to be the 19th at 0400. Set to PM. Set this to lawn date. Copy the clipboard. I love how I make these Discord timestamps, and once the blue moon, I still get a message saying, like, hey, I misread the date. And I'm like, what do you mean you misread the date? Chucklehead. I'm gonna keep the op count 4 alive, 120, 150 minutes, blah, blah, blah. Signups are gonna open... Monday at 1 p.m. This is 3 hours before the op. The roster, let's go ahead and get that open. I'm going to open it here. I'm going to open it on another tab so I can then go to Sheets Home, hit the blank page, literally copy and paste what I have in here. The only thing I need to do is open... we're gonna have a second pilot, so... Awesome, and then I... take that title, put it as number 7 instead of 6, share, and you want the link. Forgot to copy it, there we go. And then I have to add the mod set. notes saying I won't be adding a custom video for this operation. Cool. Alright. Really, really simple when you already have the campaign fleshed out. And from there, I mean, again, it's simple. We got 3 bug holes to plug right here, and then if they go a little harder, we'll go into that area. The only other thing I want to do is go into the Starship Trooper Fortify script I have and turn that down to... I think they were at 550 for their points, so that'll be for the next one. I get rid of that. All right, we can move on to the next mission file. From there, we're going to go ahead and boot up the Black Templar mission file, and this is going to be the one that I'm going to be very, very, it's going to be difficult to work with, and I'm going to show you why in a second. But Falcon, thanks for the 3-month resub, my man. Let me know when you do the next fantasy checkpoint RP so I can get everyone sorted, because I got another community that might want to jump in onto that, and we might have to take it past the 40 players, and if we do that, let me know, and I can set up my 60-player server, and if we go beyond 60, then I'm sure we'll figure something out. But nonetheless, hope you keep enjoying everything. Thanks for the resub, broski, and I hope you get a nice kick out of this mission dev scenario. Oh, so I'm going to show you a little bit of a recent development, because I recently gave a buddy of mine that I trust with a bit of an impossible task, and they delivered hard. And what this is going to open up is someone that I can literally offload some mission file work to, which means I can focus on other tasks such as video editing. So if this plays out the way I think this is gonna play out, it means I'm finally going to have the opportunity to go hard on everything that I've been meaning to go hard on. I just haven't had the time to do so. So I gave them a list of tasks, and they have the end of the month to complete those tasks, and if they do, we're gonna go hard. And it's gonna be very interesting, for lack of a better term. But let me show you what they built. They built this in 9 hours, which I agree is about 9 hours of work. It's just looking at it from an objective POV without having touched it is amazing. It's absolutely fucking amazing. Because now I have to figure out how I'm going to convert this into 3 or 4 missions for the Black Templar community. Look at this. Look at this. If you're seasoned in mission dev, you already know that this is brilliant. But let me show you. This, okay, it's minor, you know. It's a few buildings changed out. Cool, whatever. We go over here. Okay, a little bit more work. Some entire town redesign. That's pretty dope, not gonna lie. We go to somewhere even more advanced. Look at this. Oh my god. And then we go to somewhere even more advanced. Look at that. Custom interior, too. Look at that. With a custom village right next to it. You go over here, this is the crown jewel. Look at that. Custom bases. Custom fortified positions. A custom ship. Wreck, mind you. With interior design areas that the AI won't shoot through. It's masterclass work for a 40k unit. And it only took them 9 fucking hours. And this is everywhere. This quality of work. Everywhere you fucking look. Mwah. Absolutely goddamn brilliant. So, I'm going to make this person slave out for me, and we're going to have some really fun things to do in the future. Oh, 9 goddamn hours, too. Isn't that amazing? Absolutely fucking amazing. So, now I'm going to garrison the shit out of it. So, in order to do that, I'm going to have to open a previous file. I'm going to recycle my 40k kits and, trying to think. I'm going to use my Slaneshi stuff, because that's already set down. Next batch of sound bites we're working on are the Dark Tide ones, but, I mean, that's going to take me at least 2 weeks. I'm trying to go through. I'm at the pace of doing 50 of those sound bites a day. It takes me about 20 minutes, but... oh, maybe if I'm in the mood, I'll blitz through it for a few hours, but my god. Did we do Caribou Frontier with Slaneshi? I think we did, and that was my latest updates. Zam, they're not going to teach anyone. I'm going to keep them in the basement doing their damn job, and that'll be just fine for me. Because something like that you cannot teach. It is merely an art that you either have the ADHD brain to go burr on, or you don't. That is it. Well, actually, no, let me check the load. I still have the BT. Yes, I do. So yeah, I'm gonna get this garrisoned and then partitioned off into 3 or 4 mission files, and then probably gonna go do some soundbite dev. I'm just waiting for Dante to wake back up so we can play a little bit of Dark Tide, because it looks like he fell asleep on me. But oh, today was a little bit of a bust, and I'm still annoyed about it. Did I just accidentally open the freaking Starship Trooper file? Whoops.
Send in Goat Team 6 now.
Beep Bool, I subscribe because it's cool.
You know what? 10 PC Lemon Pepper, you're absolutely right. It is cool to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, you should consider it. It helps me maintain the quality I have in my basement for my slave labor, and that maybe in the future I'll give them something more interesting to do, like, I don't know, it's a pretty open place with just a bunch of chains, but maybe I'll give them something more interesting, you know? Sustain the basement. Nonetheless, thanks for the 9-month resub. I hope you keep enjoying the operations. I hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. Alright, now the real question is, where should I put Spawn? I'm thinking of just putting Spawn on the outside and just having him hit all these custom positions. Because the real trick is going to be, what do I do with all of this? So we got that as a friendly position. This as enemy debug. I'm going to put, honestly, in the top left, I think is going to be the best spot to do it. And then again, the real question is, where do I put their spawn point? What I might just do is just have a staging point here, and then we just go hit that section, hit this section, and then that section, this section, and then that section. Here, I'm gonna need map markers for this BS. Valk, can you build me an additional custom position somewhere in here? No rush on it, but this takes priority over Lingor. So I can, in order to make this as an AO, and then they have a starting position possibly up here, I'd want an additional position for them to hit, and then they can move left or right, and that'll take the rest of those positions over the course of 2 hours. Everything else, I think, is fine. I just need one more custom spot in there, if you don't mind. Feel free to get it to me whenever. I literally want something either custom or maybe the size of this position, just over here as a side position to basically force them to move to that position first before they sweep left or right, because beyond that, if we were again to start them right up here and they were to move down between all these objectives, this would take them at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half to clear all of that, even with that custom town. And me setting up a counterattack. So in putting something right here ensures that I can pin them there, and that's going to at least drag out 20 to 30 minutes of maneuvering and clearing with that custom spot, if that makes any sense. You can literally build it on its own, or just send it to me, and I can then port over all my AI. I really don't care. There's multiple ways we can do it. But yeah. So yeah, 5 AOs, and that's literally going to last us like a month and a half to 2 months, so it's fine by me. Thank you, Valk. Why is Zam's text red in the stream chat? Honest to God, I have no idea. Zam should not be given that much power, otherwise he'll abuse the shit out of it. Literally. Alright, now we're going to start literally garrisoning these entire AOs here, so this should be interesting. Let's do infantry first, and then vehicles and statics. Man, if we're gonna be doing that. Plasma. Some recon las guns for some supporting fire, even though it doesn't do a lot of damage, if any, to Space Marines. It's still something to create something a little on the flashy end. I'm not gonna read it. I looked over it. I read it in my head. I'm not gonna read it. That's a negative. Solid negative there, Ghost Rider. But it did make me laugh. I'll admit that. Now, you're probably wondering, how did these vehicles get into that position when it was, you know, clearly it can't fit? And the reason is heresy, screw you. I do want the forward gun facing the inside, though, so they can lock down anything that comes into them. It's because these positions are literally meant for artillery, because nothing's tall enough to fire outside of them except maybe Space Marines, but as you can see, it's like a perfect gun port, so I'm going to use it as such. If you've got a problem with it, don't play my ops. I was about to ask, what is it called? But no, it's a Hydra. It's a Hydra.
Send in Goat Team 6 now.
And then anything else I build, I can just set as a patrol, but yeah, that's good enough for me. One down, 20 or so positions to go. Isoc, thanks for the 23-month resub, my man. I hope you keep enjoying the operations. I do hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. No thank for bits, I'm a bad streamer. Well, because of the chubby cheek comment? Yeah. I'm not a hamster, ladies and gentlemen. I know that you want to think I am, but I am indeed not a hamster. Sorry to disappoint. Says the SCP name, Sam. Right. Now, I'm going to be honest. Normally, my garrison policy here is I pick like 4 or 5 buildings, and I only choose those to garrison. However, with the Black Templars, they literally overpower everything I put down, so I found that spreading the AI out across every building with only 1 or 2 guys, even though it's nonsensical, seems to be the best way to lock them down in an AO, because otherwise they find the 4 or 5 buildings I've garrisoned and absolutely lock them down and finish the area much, much quicker than anticipated, so just do a wide spread. at various corners where they can immediately snipe all the AI as soon as they come into the AO, and you're fine. Literally, that's the only way to stop them, because they are the definition of overpowered. And they don't really do crossfire either, because they just bulldoze everything. Even then, they've got a reinsert system that's a lot easier than most communities, so we don't really have a choice in that regard. Hey, Ethan, how you doing? I do have an SCP op that's being worked on in my back pocket by my new slave, so, you know, we'll get there when we get there. I'm just trying to burn her out so she can maybe start enjoying life. Who knows? Still no underdesk cam. Yep, you little... How was Killcog, Ethan? Did you enjoy getting blown up by the Apache? Or were you on Blue 4 and saved and spared from such a fate? Because I immediately put that clip on YouTube. Bloody funny. God, I was so annoyed that someone came into my chat channel and said, oh, you should feel bad because you advertised this up and a lot of people are getting killed. And I'm like, bro, I didn't advertise shit. I'm just like, I'm gonna go cover this. I didn't give anyone a freaking Discord link. And I let that get way, way too personal, and that's my bad. I fell for the troll bait. So I feel a little stupid about that, but at the same time, it's like, bro, I trust all of you to make your own goddamn decisions. If you don't, then that's on you. But I think in the future for Killcog, because I'm talking with Karma about changing up the delay and whatnot to either 10 or 5 minutes, depending on what's going on, I'm just not going to have a chat go down on anything that has a delay anymore, because I don't feel like dealing with that shit. I'm gonna, as much as, or how would I say this? As I keep slowly growing because of YouTube throttling and whatnot, I'm gonna have to keep having the same conversations, and there's gonna be a point where I'm like, I really don't give a shit anymore. So you know what? You can do your own research and make your own goddamn opinions. Because at this point, I don't care anymore. I'm just here to work and do my thing. Is that a freaking picture of Saddam with it? I love it. Now, why is Saddam with an AK on this map? Screw you, that's why. It's funny. That's why. Oh yeah, people hate this unit because it's literally just a missile launcher that'll actually hurt you. Therefore, I love that unit. Oh, I absolutely love the commentary for it otherwise for Killcog, and I can't wait to do the next one. It's just now I know how it's gonna be like, so I know we're gonna bring predictions to it. I'm gonna do it per cache though. But if it happens to be they snipe the, a cache that's unguarded, then it's like, okay, damn, but that's the risk involved. I told Karma, hey, if we're going to do that again, though, and you want me to spectate as Zeus and you want me to be able to hide stuff, there's a script that's causing me not to be able to hide things, so we got to find that and get rid of it for Killcog. So he's talking with his scripters about that. But, you know, that means if we can hide it out, because another thing I pointed out to him was, look, I could have had a 5-minute delay or even no delay, and I don't think that would have helped because people immediately heard those loud-ass MH47s and started converging on your positions for LZs. So I get that you wanted to keep those hidden, but at the same time, I don't really think it mattered. So we don't really need to... I don't think we need a stream delay in the future. You know what I mean? Like, if I want you to hide your positions in your brief and whatnot, I just won't cover you guys until you start going in the AO, and then it's no holds barred. And he partially agreed with that and said he'll get back to me about a few other things with it. So, again, it was a good test run for what it was, and I think going forward it's going to be really, really cool to cover, but, you know, we'll get there when we get there. Oh my god, they're so tall! I love it! I'm keeping that. Screw it. Screw it. They're bigger than it. That's funny as fuck. Also, I just remembered I don't even have to do rotation stuff because they auto-rotate in and out, so they're even taller in these bunkers. This will be a test run to see if the Space Marine units even fire out of these bunkers then, so... Sentry Marines. They're so big. That's what she said. So yeah, when he decides to run it again, because it had been like 2 months since he ran it anyway, I will cover it again, because otherwise... I'm hosting weekly for him anyway at the moment. Oh, for fuck's sake. 1 second. There we go. So we'll get there when we get there. But I enjoyed Killcog. I, honest to God, enjoyed watching the Apache just massacring everyone and then listening to you people bitch about balance. Because I just looked at you dead in the camera and said, guys, there is no balance. If there was balance, there would be a prediction. But people are going to know now you should probably bet blue for, because otherwise it's going to be an absolute massacre, and I loved it. Because as someone that's covered so much balanced PvP, it was fun to finally watch something that was completely unhinged. And I'm going to be really, really happy to cover that again. Balanced or based? Finally, Zam, you say something noteworthy. I'm proud of you. Gold star for Zam, right? I'm gonna double squad this one. Because some of the garrisons I want to keep light on purpose. I will say this, you will never see Karma Cut cover something related to Vietnam because he doesn't like Vietnam. And when you're dealing with YouTubers or Twitch streamers that have a dedicated following, for Twitch, I don't know the exact number, so I'm going to pull a number out of my ass and say 50,000 people following. For YouTubers, that's usually above 100,000 before they quote-unquote made it and can do whatever they want, but it can be smaller, it could be bigger, it just depends on the person. I'm using generalizations, but I digress. Once they've made it and they realize no matter what they do, they can get away with doing whatever they want. If they don't like something specific, they're never going to do it, and one of those things for Karma Cut is Vietnam. So, rule of thumb, don't ever ask me to do something Vietnam related to him, because he has already said no in the past to me when I offered a few things, such as having him bring a squad of people to a Vietnam joint op. So, don't get your hopes up there. Because as I said in that Killcog stream, I do not mind bringing people into operations that I think they'll enjoy, but Karma has outright told me he doesn't like Nom. So don't expect him to do Nom. Now, if I see him randomly stream a Vietnam game in the future, you know, in a year or 2 or 5 or whatever, then I'll bring up the suggestion again, and maybe his tune will change, because we're all human beings, and we all change. Just look at my opinion on Forensic Steel, for example. That dude has had a massive amount of changing, and he's no longer a dick. So by all means. It could change in the future, but in the now, right now, just telling you guys how it is. D-Day with MG3s and BMDs. Donner, what's that if you're here? Timeout Zam for that one. I'm gonna be honest, there's no reason for me to really give him a timeout, but I'm already at my wit's end with him today for my own personal, completely biased reasons. Yep, scream abuse, buddy. You know the rule, though. You're my local troll, so we can bully you however we want. Christ. I'm worried about garrisoning in this middle building because I know they're gonna blow it to high hell, but, you know, I can joke about it anyway. Things don't change, I still got war crime. Okay, yeah, I will bring that up. I'm not gonna say anything about it to people in COG, but I thought it was really, really questionable, but at the same time really, really funny that I was watching air support just completely dick on unarmed vehicles. Because technically, yeah, it's a little bit of a war crime unless they can properly identify that there's armed people in the Vic, but at the same time, it's kind of funny. Like, if we were being realistic at the realistic level they were trying to go for, then that was a little illegal for them to start shooting up every vehicle that they saw. But at the same time, it was kind of funny. And at that point, for that operation, I knew it was going to be a kind of funny sort of scenario. So, again, you'll get no complaints from me. Like, I remember someone came into my chat and said, you know, like, I died 3 times to that Apache, and this is my first experience in Arma. And at first, I'm like, damn, dude, that really sucks. Like, that I feel bad because that's your first experience, and that's really colored it negatively and blah, blah, blah. And then I also thought about it, and I'm like, you know, any reasonable adult does research on what they're getting into, you know? Like, let's say it's a new restaurant or a new product they want to buy or yada-da. They're not just gonna blindly go in based off of some, like, 10 or 20-minute video that they see. And then that's gonna help determine if they actually, you know, want to do it or whatnot. And if they don't do that and they just blindly go in like a sheep and then they don't enjoy it, at that point, that's on you. Because I also remember someone bringing up and saying there's a lot of people that stream and record and publish content on Killcog. So if you Google Killcog and you look for those POVs, you'll find plenty to tell you whether or not you want to play in that scenario. I did it myself because I was curious last night, and I saw at least 5 different people in POVs from Blue 4 and Op 4, and I'm going to be honest, Op 4 got raffle stomped pretty damn hard. So it's like, Arma's an 18 or 16 plus game, depending on your country, so you at least have to be that old to reasonably play it. Of course, that's not going to stop you, but that's the stone I'm going to set because that's the stone that's set officially, but I digress. If you're not smart enough to make your own mature decision for that at that state, then you have no business to play it at that point. Which sounds elitist, but the point I'm trying to make is that you need to make your own decisions and do your own research before you decide to invest 2 to 3 hours, actually 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours, I would say, in doing something like that. And if you're gonna not put in the time and then complain about it afterwards, that's on you. That's on you at that point. But even if you know, that's the case, then I at least hope to God you take that as the lesson of, okay, I need to do more research next time I want to join in on something before I, you know, jump the gun and decide I don't really like it. And that was my experience with CCO6 back for Arma 3 PvP, which is why I really hate Arma 3 PvP, but, you know, at least take that as a lesson. And if you don't, then I'm sorry to say you're probably just going to be a sheep the rest of your life, but hey, you know, everyone has a role to play at that point. Shame I still don't have the underdesk camera. Well, Bloodwing isn't even here, so the only people you're gonna find is Katarina Blackheart or I don't know who else. Anyone else I ERP with on the side, but Bloodwing condones all of that or whatever the word is where she lets me get away with it. But anyway, yada da. Get third person noob. I don't know. It's just, again, dealing with a few people, I was a little butthurt about that on the COG stream, but at the same time, I didn't need to be, and it's kind of good that I'm always kept on my toes in that sense, so I can reassess my opinions on XYZ and then set the precedent going forward and evolve as someone that's had to deal with all this shit since 2016. I'll be honest, the Zoosop I did yesterday where I was directly mortaring people, I think I found a pretty good happy medium of I would make sure the mortar rounds would hit and defilade where it wouldn't hurt anyone, but it would definitely add the shock value of, oh shit, we're under attack, and then give a few seconds till the next round accurately of you dropping a mortar round in, letting it fire, and then dropping another mortar round in, and I would juggle that between 2 or 3 positions. But then, you know, give the player base a reasonable opportunity to head into cover, and if they didn't, well, we watched a few people get gibbed from it, but then the medics, based off of how we set up medical, were still able to get them up, and if they didn't, respawns was really close to, you know, enjoy it. And I heard good things from Leclerc, from Shermanator, from pretty much everyone, either from listening to them from the Zeus interface, or from hearing from other people that were in their squad and say, yeah, everyone had a good time. Everyone seemed to enjoy the op, and that's all I need. So any personal rules I set for, you know, not dropping arty on players or whatnot are just artificial to me, but I also have the maturity to handle all of that and micro it accordingly, so the only obstacle I have in doing any of that shit is really just myself. So I think now going forward I will be a little harder on the arty, despite the comments people make about calling me Luton Jr. and all that bullshit, but I think I'm good enough to keep that going forward. I just have to make sure that I don't develop an ego, and we'll be good from there. You already Valk, that was 25 minutes. Valk, that was 25 minutes. You could not have finished what I just gave you in 25 fucking minutes. Go finish Lingor, you piece of shit. I swear to God. At this rate, they're gonna finish Lingor by the time I finish Garrisoning and all this shit. I'm gonna go, Jesus fucking Christ. Alright, here you go. Valk, you never learned the fact that when you're in a certain job, you gotta take your time. If I tell you to print this 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and take the entire day to do it, you'd be one of those chuckleheads that gets it back to me in like 5 minutes. I'm gonna stare at you and go, oh my God, you did not learn your lesson, sir. 25... What did you build? Like, it's gonna take me at least another hour or hour and a half to go freaking... Okay, Valk, screw you. Valk, add another one. Do another one up here. See this area? See this area? Add another one up here. Okay? I'm rewarding you with more work. Get something up there done. And I swear to God, if you finish it before I'm halfway through this next AO, I'm going to literally reach through my monitor and bitch slap you. I love you, but I'm going to bitch slap you. Like I said, Valk is my new Arma slave for these higher end missions. Because this, like I said, she did this all in 9 hours, which would also take me around 9 hours if you've seen me do total map conversions, but 9 hours is a lot of time. So if I can literally get the quality of work I would make through someone else, and then that frees me up to do other things, I'm golden. Kinky. Yeah, right, you're telling me. You're telling the guy that has a... Oh, no, we're not gonna go there. Not yet. I may be a little tipsy, but... Unless you press me, we're not gonna go there just yet. Talking to the guy with the no under desk cam? Shut up. Oh, I woke up 6 hours ago. No, 5 hours ago. When was it? It's 7 o'clock right now. Yeah, I woke up at 2 o'clock after staying up till 5 a.m. to just get various things done. Then I played the Digby op, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't mean to rag on Digby, but that was probably the lowest, that was the lowest quality Digby op I've ever played. And I could tell, because he had no custom video, the kits weren't customized, his focus was definitely on the brief and the AO and the ambience, but I know he can do better. I've played some some of the best ops I've played as of the past 2 years have been Digby ops. And he also didn't give the roster till 48 hours prior, and other Digby ops, he had that shit out in like 2 weeks. So I know he's a bit better than that. But I also understand, as someone that does this full time and had to spend a week and a half ago making 14 mission files, I know that we get busy. And for what it was still good work. It's just I know we can do better. But that's okay. I'm one of the very, very few people in the world that can rag on him like that, because, you know, I do this for a living. And going forward, I'm still excited for the next thing he puts out that he invites me to. But I'm gonna call it how I see it. You got an entire section done in the time I was building. Jesus Christ. There's even this up here. God damn it, Neko. Yes, I saw this ship with the cities. If not, shoot me a grid ref and I'll go look at it, because I know you're on that mission file right now, slaving away. Wait a minute. I think the next campaign area, aka what Lingor is going to be, I'll probably build some custom kits around the Nurgle kits I used against these guys. For a one-off recently, and then maybe some zinced kits or something for the next one, and keep everything varied. I hate to be recycling chaos units and yada-da, but at the same time, compared to what they're fighting, the only other thing I can think of that might be balanced against them is Tau or maybe some orc stuff, but there's only like 2 or 3 weapons that the orcs can use, so perhaps for a one-off, but we'll keep working on that. I'm gonna smack you. Damn it, Neko. Yeah, everything around the shipwreck, I know. This, I already called this your quote-unquote crown jewel of the op around that specific area. And you got all this shit around here, that's why I have it partitioned off. This could also be its own AO. This is probably the most balanced, the largest one out of all, and the other ones have a lot of maneuvering going around. This one just has a lot of stuff around it, period. CQB death room. So yeah, we'll see. One second. You know, actually, I'm gonna ask you guys, at the end of this stream, can you remind me to put a poll up in the SOG Prairie Fire RT Columbia community? For context of if I'm going to Zeus a mission for them next weekend, or give them a regular op to do. I'm not gonna explain on that further. I just need to be reminded to put that poll up. And then you'll get your context later in the week depending on their decision. If not later in the week, then within 3 weeks because I'm taking the next week off. Bohemia Project, no. I'm gonna be honest. The 1.3 update op from yesterday I was under an NDA for, that got lifted when the thingy went public. I can neither confirm nor deny I'm under any other NDAs for any reason at the moment. However, I will say this, because I'm not under NDA for anything clarifying to it. I'm not under NDA for anything Bohemia Interactive related. The only things Bohemia has directly reached out to me for in the past has been Splendid Squad. And I'm not sure I'm going to do that ever again because there's a certain person that plays in Splendid that I don't want to Zeus for because they may or may not have been tied to DDoSing me for 9 weeks. What do you mean may or may not? No, they were. I found direct freaking evidence that they were tied to me DDoSing, or them DDoSing me. You get my point. And I don't really want to ever deal with this person again. And it's really hypocritical of them because they did it for me running Ukrainian charity op stuff. And then a year later, I got sent something where they were running Ukrainian charity op stuff. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Some of these people, I swear to God. So it's like, I can't win. But if they ask me to run another Splendid, I'm just going to tell them outright, I'll do it as long as this person's not playing, because I'm not giving them shit. I did it last time for Splendid Squad 2 because I only had circumstantial evidence, and then one of the chuckleheads that I proved was doing the DDoS came forward and said, yeah, here's some chat logs of him saying to us to do it. So I'm not dealing with that shit. On a side note, it's crazy how some people are with fragile egos, but I think I've given enough time on this topic. I'm just here to make missions, man. I mean, look at this map. Look at how beautiful it is with all these assets and whatnot. Sorry for blinding you right there with the night vision, but, you know, all of this work. And then just because some person has a fragile ego, they'll spend weeks, not even weeks, months, ruining it just because they don't like you. I mean, fucking hell. What a world we live in. I'm just here to make missions, guys. I'm just here to give everyone a good time because what I do is very, very niche in the world, but to the corner of people that enjoy it, well, it helps them cope in this bleak, bleak world. And thus I enjoy to continue doing it. I like Rubik's. He's just one of those guys that at the moment he's going through the same thing Soviet Womble did, where he's got his massive spike in popularity and a lot of people are trying to get to him just to ask him really mundane questions that can be answered with a video that he may or may not have or something on his Discord. So he's got to section himself off. I went through a similar phase way back when, so I get it. But the man literally is an editor first and everything about Arma second, but he chooses to, you know, do his thing. And I can respect that. But yeah, you can name drop any YouTuber and I can literally give you the 411 on them, or Twitch streamer. I was doing that with someone last night at like 3 a.m. because we just got into they're a mission maker for Karma Cut, and I just went I just let the conversation go where it went, but that was funny. I will say this though off the bat, I value mission makers and I value mission makers and modders above everyone else. One tier below that I value Zeus's, and then one tier below that I value YouTubers and whatever. And then the highest tier I value is the actual Bohemia staff, because they're tied to this game, even though I don't always 100% agree with what they do. But without them, this all wouldn't be possible. Notice how I don't value the players? I'm talking about social structures here, not actual operations, but if we want to add that because we want to nitpick what's that, I value every other player above you. And your sass. Ah, man. I would hope it goes without saying that anyone that plays in my ops, I do value them and their feedback because I want to make sure they have a good time, because otherwise what's the point in me doing what I do? But if we want to nitpick, we can. That right there was a violation. Sam, I'd be careful what you say the what's that, because no matter what he says and no matter how much he bitches, he will always have power over you to time you out. So be very careful about that, broski. Nah, what's that? Even though I don't always appreciate what he does, he was one of the original OG crews that helped me from becoming super toxic when I first started out. So he has the infinite right to always rag on my ass and keep me on my toes. Because I don't think that's ever going to change about him. Someone clip that? You can clip it yourself. You have the power. No problem, part-time. It was, in my opinion, a decent introduction to what Killcog was. And now I know going forward how I want to shape it with the rest of my content. And we'll go from there, but I'm really excited to see the next one. But I will admit, there was a lot of waiting around, which I was told would be the case. It's just, you know, I had to fill in a lot of banter and whatnot. I know not everyone appreciates just some chucklehead talking for, you know, 20 or 30 minutes as the next air crew goes in. But I think we had a good plethora of topics to talk about, from stuff in the op to, you know, stuff that wasn't. But either way, I digress. Liru is a big bottom nerd. I mean, if your name is Dante or Bloodwayne, then yes, but everyone else I've run into, it's not the case. But that's just what a Switch is for you. Save as. I'm gonna start partitioning these files off. You're clipping that for what's that? For posterity? Well, what I'd want to do is I would rather, given the option of having a 15-minute delay and watching the landings, or not having a 15-minute delay and shrinking it down to a 5-minute or even no delay and not covering the landings specifically, I would prefer the latter, because I would rather be able to directly engage with my viewer base. That way, when we have a lot of downtime, I can just directly do Q&A. And then we can just, you know, hear it based off of watching Op4 and then hearing the MH47s land and seeing where they're pointing out to. And then going, all right, we have Blue 4 coming and blah, blah, blah. Because at that point, with what Flux and King were doing in the, you know, beginning of Killcog on Saturday night, I can stream those positions all I want, but Op4 already called it in, so they know it's coming. As long as I don't immediately go over their position and then show Op4, hey, drop mortars on this exact spot, it's fine. It's fine. And if we find that someone is immediately just dropping mortars in a line based off of my POV directly on where they see, you know, a bunch of unit markers, then we know someone's stream sniping and then they can get banned, you know? That's just how it works. I don't want to do this. Christ, even with all the custom work done, it's gonna take like 40 or 50 minutes to actually build all this. That's nuts. And then... Boop. You know what? That'll be cool if I just have this be a full day of Endless War, and then we make the mission file based off of the time of day where I start and end it. So then, you know, this will start going into the morning, and then each mission file will subsequently be 2 hours forward, because that's what I mean for it to be. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 hours ahead will bring it up to 2 p.m. So I'll probably do 2.5 hours instead, but that should be fine. How can you figure out who a stream sniper is? I'm gonna be honest with you, it's actually really, really simple to tell when you're spectating. Because especially now that we can listen to people's local comms, people will say it out loud. And when they don't, it's really obvious to tell when you have intentionally placed AI, like if I'm doing a Zeus op, for example, and I put them in positions where I absolutely know they're not going to be detected and they're not saying anything, I have them set to stealth, and then someone just runs up and throws a grenade. I'm suspicious about it. I don't say anything, I just watch them, and then when they do it a second time, then you know. Because usually they also have the similar game username or TeamSpeak username to their Twitch account, and then we just cross-reference. Or, in more advanced cases, I get their IP, and then I check your Twitch account, and then check its IP, and they match. I've only had to do that twice. Because I've only had that, like, you know, suspicion of it twice in my career here, and both of those times were right, so... I don't want to have to deal with it, but I see it on occasion. I forgot my SQFs. 1 second, let me go copy those in the mission folder. I've also, yeah, plenty of times I've gone up to someone and I hear my own voice through their microphone, and I'm like, huh, that's weird. I know my own voice because I hate it with a burning passion, and I cringe every time I hear it on a video. So you better freaking believe I'm gonna cringe when I hear it through someone's microphone. Now, when I'm on the ground playing stuff, I don't mind when people watch my stream while they're doing that, because I've had a lot of times the Zeus will watch my POV because they like to have a POV on the ground. And when I used to Zeus and I was really getting used to player bases, for example, I'd actually have a local player's POV open on my phone or whatnot. So any complaints they had or any issues that they came up before Ilbanek made the custom plugin to let me listen to people in commentary, or when TFAR Beta had that ability for me to listen to people locally, that would give me a bit of an insight instead back in the 2017 to 2019, 2020 era. But, you know, since then, technology has changed. Sorry that's taking me so long. I'm trying to find which Black Templar file to copy and paste these SQF and extension files from to put in here. And I just found them. And then, of course, there's also people that'll be talking to them, and then they'll hear my voice through their microphone, and then they'll just tell me straight up, bro, this guy's on your stream listening. And I'm like, that's funny as fuck. Because most people don't want to play with someone that's metagame, and it ruins the experience for everyone else involved. So, you know, people are quick to point the finger. Yeah, we've had plenty of stream sniping incidents in the past. Alright, so right now what we're doing is we're looking at our garrisons here to make sure they don't break apart. So, for example, I left this debug squad right here, so I'm going to have to delete that. Everything else, though, I'm not seeing any units moving around or whatnot. Let's do a quick frame check. In Editor, we usually want this to be over 60 frames. So the fact that it's at 60, dipping in the 50 on occasion shows me that this is going to be playable, but what I want to consider doing in the Zeus interface is perhaps doing this. So that in the future, when we go through additional AOs, as you can see, we're now up into the 70s because I've disabled simulation of some of the units out here going forward. So by doing that, I can directly control the AOs that units hit on, and then we can, again, make the game even more playable for the Black Templar as they bulldoze through these AOs. So again, looking out, nothing is ungarrisoning because all the units that I was building things off of have this all set pre-actively. First objective is going to be to take this site because it's going to give us a hint at other AOs. Basically, the tech priests want to examine that wreckage, and that's going to help us kind of expand in this AO. Alright, that's the first AO done, so literally a save and an export. And that's it. Then we're gonna go back. Actually, no, I want to save the spawn zone I made and repaste it in later. Falk, I hate you. God damn it, Falk. I didn't even get to the second mission file yet, you piece of shit. Oh, you... you bellend. Alright, go back to Lingor, Valk. That's all I need you to do for this mission file. My favorite type of mission to run... Vietnam. It's always been that way, because Vietnam... I hate to word it like this, but that's usually the mods where I have to put the least amount of work in, but I get the most amount of the yacht back based off of everything else that's going on. If that makes any sense. Because there's just such a high variation, and it's also always the smallest mod set I have to make, so the frames and, you know, not having to worry about anything running in the background is really good. So I can just go forward with that. Hey, NT buddy, thanks for the raid at 25. What were you doing? If you don't mind me asking. I need to start raiding people a bit more often. I'll get in phases where I'll do it, and then I'll either forget about it, or I'm just busy of, you know, we got something else we're gonna do, just give me like a 30-minute break, because I need to take a break. Armanam? Mike Force, or was Digby's op still running? You forgot to save the oh, god damn it, Valk. SOG Prairie Fire? Gotcha. With Digby? Did his thing just end? 4.5 hours? Oh, earlier, okay. I was about to say, I'm happy I left that early then, if it literally took 4.5 freaking hours. I already complained about the op. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse, but god damn. I would have lost my shit. Because the average Arma player usually gets bored after 2 hours of being in a server. Unless you're doing something very specific like CCO or, you know, who knows at that point. Too much voice, short sentences. So that's why I try to make sure all my ops only take about, 2 hours, maybe up to 2.5 or even 3, depending on what it is. But I can't imagine signing up for a random op and then staying longer than 2.5 hours, to be perfectly honest. Just because of how biased everything else is, you know what I mean? I do know Digby's ops go long as well, and I don't mind that. I mean, an op he did a little while ago, it was, his War in the Falklands op. I wish I could have stayed longer than the 2 hours there because I had something else planned and I budgeted out 2 hours for it. That, I think, was my favorite Digby op I've ever done because it was in the beginning a constant back and forth across this one, like, kilometer-long stretch of land, and I was in heaven with it. Never died. I just kept pulling back and forth, watching people get dropped around me for poking their heads out when they weren't supposed to. And I was having a great time. I really do love ops that if you know what you're doing, you'll be okay. You might occasionally get killed. But if you don't know what they're doing, you are absolutely bitch slapped. And I love those. Absolutely love those. I hate ops where you're doing a lot of waiting around, not really doing anything, and then in the first engagement you take, you either immediately die to some BS, or the Zeus just headshots you. And you're like, oh, okay. I wouldn't mind if it's an AI, because the AI will occasionally headshot you, and that's fine, but if a unit literally stops what it's doing as it's in the middle of walking through an open field, turns to face you, immediately runs to cover, pokes its head out, there's a few seconds, and then one shot rips through your head, and you're like, huh, that's kind of weird. That's a Zeus AI. Not even lambs will pull that against you. We sat in the M113 for longer than an hour, and I shot about 20 over 3 hours. Yeah. Not my cup of tea. I know people that like to vibe with others and whatnot, and I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't mind sitting 2 to 3 hours in an op just listening to Ice's voice, but I've been to other Digby ops, so I had an expectation for that operation. I just didn't get it, and I'm like, all right, what am I doing here? I'd rather go do XYZ instead at that point. But again, I think it's always important as a Zeus to go out and play every op that I can. That way, I can keep experiencing everything and keep constantly changing my craft. Like, I'm gonna be honest, the person that I learned, not even learned because I had to learn it myself, but the person I got the idea of making custom videos for my ops from was Digby. And I asked him, like, hey, how do you do it? And he flat out told me, oh, I don't handle that. Let me message the guy that does, and he'll get back to you. And, of course, they never did. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I just did a bunch of Googling. I did a bunch of digging on the wiki. And I found out you have to make an MP4 file. And then you have to download a file converter to convert the file into a 20-year-old video format that games from the early 2000s and late 90s used. Like, it's the same video files that the Command & Conquer series would play. And then you use that to basically play the video file. So it's a lot of work of just getting it transferred. And then you also need to make sure you only export it out in like 480p or something. And if you're going to do it in 720, it has to be a very short video because you have to keep the file under 100 megabytes. Otherwise, it's not going to load properly. because your mission files can't be bigger than 100 megabytes, otherwise they're gonna just denature on principle. And that I literally had to spend 4 or 5 days experimenting with to either dig up all of those rules and test them, or just find them out for myself. So now, going forward, all the missions that I feel like have a good chunk of effort tied to them that have some sort of historical significance, I'm going to put a video file in, if at very least, to have a briefing, because I think the best brief I've ever given as of recent was that video file in the Keyson op, because that told everyone, hey, this is what everything on the map means, this is what you're doing, good luck, have fun, and thank you for playing. Like, that's easier to do than gather everyone around and then give them a brief, and it keeps everyone on the same page. So, that's my new standard. And I was a little worried that, because that video took me, I think, an hour and a half to find the footage for the first half, and the second half to make the briefing and then edit it. But I think it was worth it for the time. I was just worried that, with that addition for certain mission files, it would take me a bit, but now I have Neko working in my basement on these types of mission files that are going to take me hours to do. Because even on top of the garrison work, that's going to be an extra hour to 2 hours of just garrisoning these AOs and getting that all done. So it's like, oh, that's even more, but, we can make it work. So my goal with Whiplash and Nemesis for future Vietnam things is, the original goal was to run something every month for the Artsy Columbia crew, but I wasn't able to do that because I just had a massive influx of work between IRL stuff, and then, last week and a half was, I guess now 2 weeks ago, was 14 mission files to do, when normally I only have about 5 to 7 mission files to do. Now the new average is going to be 6 to 7, because Karma Cut's taking me weekly, but his mission files aren't that hard to make. Unless I really want to go out like the first one I did, and I've got another one planned to do, but I'm going to be honest with you guys, I've offloaded that to Neko, because Neko is freaking insane, and I'm going to work her to death. And I know she has the time for it, because she usually spends a lot of her time making stuff for a custom D&D campaign we do, but the DM has recently put us on hiatus till August. So I'm going to make sure Neko does not get bored during that hiatus. Hamburger Hill PvP. I'm going to be honest, I'll have to ask Nemesis if he'd be interested in a PvP op, but we could do that. The one thing I'm going to make sure we don't have for PvP, though, is we can't do Ace if we're ever going to do a PvP op. And the reason for that is we saw this in the Keyson op I did, but the compat file for Vietnam, at least for the 1.3 assets that were in the update, it's not compatible because we were having issues with the new statics and whatnot. And there were assets that were pre-1.3 that were also having some issues with Ace features. So I don't trust Ace Ballistics to work properly between the two kits. So we'd have to do with the base game health system, and I think that would be easier. We'd probably, I'm going to be honest, making it balanced, we'd have to give Op4 artillery, and we'd have to give Blue 4 helicopter support, no air support because that would be too overpowered. But basically, Op4 would have the ability to deploy artillery wherever they wanted, and then Blue 4 have the helicopters to basically track the artillery. And then we'd have to implement some sort of ticket system tied to assets, but that would be doable. Blue 4 would get mines, Op 4 would get traps and punji stakes and all that shenanigans, but again, that would be tied to if Whiplash and Nemesis both say yes, because if one of them says no and one of them says yes, then it's automatically a no. If both of them say yes, then it's golden, but that's something I'd have to first get with them to make sure that we're good to go on other things going forward, because not only do I want to start doing the once a month thing for Artsy Columbia again, I'd love to start getting into the once every 1 to 2 months I start, doing those large scale events that I used to do for them. Because the one previously was 3 months ago, it was the Asia Valley op, and that literally took me a week. Because I literally deformed the northern side of Asia Valley to look like the historically accurate AO that we fought in, but I've done so many mission files I don't even remember what we did. which is why I'm also going to have Valk work on learning how to do Deformer, because I know Valk will, once she masters it, she'll get a kick out of doing all that stuff. If at the very least it'll slow down her freaking return time, because she gave me something that's going to literally take me 2 months to play through. And I'm working on something else that's probably going to give me another 3 months. Because good freaking God. Not Stalin, thanks for the 100 bits. Have you seen Stalin anywhere, buddy? I've been looking for him. But I know he went to the disguise store and bought a fake mustache and everything. But if you see him, let him know I'm thinking about him, you know? You'll be lurking? Yeah. Valk, you're fine. You're absolutely fine, broski. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What's that? I'm gonna be honest, watching and commentating on a bunch of PvP events, I know PvP can be really, really fun. It's just you have to balance it correctly, because if you don't, then it becomes a massive shit show. I've seen good PvP and I've seen bad PvP, both playing and in the commentary interface. But I also know the sheer amount of stuff you gotta test to make that all work in the first place. But again, we'll see. I mean, worst comes to worst, if Vietnam does want to host a PvP event, how I would do that is I'd get permission from Whiplash and Nem to put a feeler poll out. If the feeler poll were to get above the, I want to say 80%. So if the player base is 64 versus 64, that means it would be 128 slots. If I put a feeler poll out there, I put a date out and said, hey, would you guys want to do a PvP on this date? And I got 100 emotes on it that were green checks that said yes, then I would actually put the time in to make it all work out. And then I would use my extensive contact list through Drumheller, aka Jester814, Karma Cut, Digby, everyone I know to fill those slots. Because anything that goes above 60 players at that point, no offense to anyone that's hosting me for the Zoosop, but I dip into my own reserves to get it filled, because it's also my name on the line making that mission. So I can assure the quality. I would get that mission jam-packed and we would run it. Beyond that, I mean, again, Arma 3, the only things I would make sure at that point we wouldn't do is I would not have a night cycle for that op. It would be the same time of day, but specifically day, because nighttime in the Vietnam maps with flares will kill people's frames, and low frames always leads to the conversation of, oh, you only killed me because I was lagging out. So I'd have to minimize that issue. I'd also have to minimize the amount of smoke that people carried. I'd only have people like squad leaders have smoke grenades and whatnot, because as soon as more than 8 or 10 smoke grenades go down, the server's going to start lagging as well. And then, of course, there'd be no AI, because Arma 3 AI pathfinding is one of the biggest sources of lag in all of Arma 3. Fun fact, the 3 biggest sources of lag in all of Arma 3 in order is shadows, which again, flares at night in a Vietnam map or napalm dropping on a map will cause that. Arma 3 pathfinding is the second one, and then smoke grenades is the third one. Which is also why when you're running things like Lamb's AI, comparatively, the frames are going to be worse if you're running more than 60 AI because of all the even more complex pathfinding that the AI is calculating. However, some of that gets offloaded if you run the thing like a headless client. However, that only offloads the server desyncing and not the frames players are going to experience, because the server's being bottlenecked at that point. But anything you spawn down on the server is still going to have to be rendered by all clients. I love having that conversation with people, though, because it's something they don't think about. And admittedly, I didn't think about it either when I was first starting out, but there's a little bit of logic tied to all that BS. I'm gonna be honest, I would love to do a nighttime PvP operation with only flashlights. But again, it would have to be something that is more open compared to a jungle in Vietnam, because if you have too many people in the jungle putting flashlights on trees and whatnot, the frames are going to be terrible. Unless you specifically coded the game to not have shadows, and you were to somehow run that server side and reflect for everyone. Because otherwise, it's not going to work the way you want it to, unfortunately. You know what? No, screw this. We're gonna make it. Where are my predator tanks? Yes. Yes. Actually, no. When you take the crew out, you can only put a certain amount of people in here, so... Emperor's children. No. No, I wanted that to be a Hydra, but I did want a Chimera possibly right here. With that part sticking out. You gotta be careful when you use cities, though, because cities have a lot of textures that have a high polygon count. Biggest example I can give you is Kavala on Altis. No one ever gets good frames on Kavala on Altis for that reason. So, you know, you just gotta be mindful. Ow! What the fuck was that? What did I hit? What did I hit? Game, why? Now my ears are ringing. Whatever you might have just heard, I assure you it was much louder for me because of how I have the noise gate set. Ah, that hurt. God, I wish we could still ping Andy T90. I'm still pissed off that Discord gave us a freaking temp ban on the server for that. We had his consent to do it, and it was posted, but nope. Discord, bunch of freaking cub porn loving freaks went, nope, you're intentionally targeting this guy. It's like, but he said he's fine with it, you fucking furries. Targeted hate on someone that consented. They can go fuck themselves at that point. I'm sure that's even gonna fit, but it's okay. If we partially put it in, then I think it'll be okay. The aircraft are too big. Actually, yeah, even the freaking top turret can't get in. So what we'll do instead is I'll put a pair of pocket Avengers in there. Because some of these I intend to, you know, actually take off from the airfield and use against the player base. And some are just for show. Rocker, I didn't need to read that, buddy. Like, thank you for everything you do as a player, but I did not need to read that. I change out Hellfire for rocket pods because Hellfires can insta-kill any vehicle. There it is, 19 rocket pod. Damn, I have a minor headache from that damn audio, too. I want to put a Lehman in that turret, but we'll get there when we get there. Hive City Space Hulk again? Valk is lurking, but one of her projects right now does involve something of that nature, so just be patient, and we'll eventually get there again. However, that's going to be for the Black Templar community, but I might also run it for another group like Pog, depending on what asset she uses. Then again, that doesn't apply to you because you don't play in Pog anymore. My apologies, I forgot. Last position are these two. All right, we'll be 2 down, 40% done. 60% to go. Trying to think. Tuesday, I'm not gonna do something because my father and I are gonna calibrate some weaponry for hunting next week. Wednesday is gonna be the debut of the last ship campaign. I'm gonna let that bleed into next month for the first half because I've been putting that off for too damn long. I've just been so busy with some other BS. I just haven't had the time of the day. Thursday will be Pog starting off. I think they voted for Halo, but I need to check that poll again, so I'll make some random Halo ops. Friday, I might run something at 6:30 to finish things off, either part 2 of the last ship campaign, or what else could we do? A random one-off, but I think that should be my focus to get through that, because at the end of that weekend, I need to do other stuff, and then Saturday and Sunday will be fill-ins, because I'll be with RT Columbia, I'll be doing something for Karma. Actually, I think I might leave Sunday, too, so that means I can't... Well, no, I think I leave Monday, but... Oh, well, we'll see. And then when I get back, everything kicks off again. I need to have 1 or 2 mission files ready to run on Monday and Tuesday for my community, so that'll be last ship and then maybe something else. At least Starship Troopers, too. I almost forgot about that, so... Because by my calculations, we should have that done before the vacation kicks in, but I might do a one-off for it to buy myself some time unless I'm really quick about making a mission file. Does anyone remember what time I put the first mission file at? Was it 4 o'clock or 4:30 in terms of in-game time? And that's that AO done. It's 8 o'clock. Which means I have like 9 hours before I go back to bed.
Send in Goat Team 6 now.
Savage Snipper, thanks for the tier 1 sub. Actually, it's a Twitch Prime sub. My bad, broski. I hope you keep enjoying the operations, and I do hope you get a nice kick out of this development stream. What's that? I do not. Before you joined the Marines in 2019, good to see you're still at it. Hell yeah, broski. Learned a lot since then, and I'm just trying to do better by everything for everyone involved so we can all have a good time. So this will be 6:30 then, since we're going up in time. Multiplayer, let's put these on. Custom position, select respawn position, check that off, uncheck that, and check that off. And then spawns are fine. Let's go ahead and have a look in Zeus. Wait, I forgot my SQFs, 1 second. I just have to make sure I hydrate and sit up straight, right? Alright, now let's have a look. I think I scrolled over the squishy Zeuses. Yep. One of my Tanoan campaigns. Yeah, those were forever ago, man. Hard for me to remember that long ago. I think what I'm going to do is, one extra thing I want to do is set the Squishy Zeus slots into something more, inquisitorial. And then I'll reflect that on both mission files, and then I think I'm good, because that's all fine. This is just to make sure that those two are unmarked. This is a sweep and clear. First one's a sweep and clear specifically to get to that one area to sweep everything, or that's up there. Third area is to secure the areas around. These are all pretty much sweep and clear style operations. And again, we do garrisons, so we can then spawn things on top of the AO, and that should be fine. Everything else seems to be fine. From the Zeus side of things, frames are fine, so yeah. Also, because I know there's less assets here compared to the first AO, so that is A-okay. Where are the squishy Zeus slots? I see. So they've been taking my mission files and opening them and... Okay, I'm gonna yell at them. That's also why my units have been on garrisoning. That's also why custom kits haven't been saving. That's funny as fuck. Because I'm like, I know I switched it, but the last mission it didn't happen, but I copied these from the last mission, but that just proves that they weren't opening the mission files with 3D Enhance. Because if you open the mission files without 3D Enhance loaded in the editor, it wipes all the settings that 3D Enhance sets, such as the custom kits and the garrisons. So I'm going to yell at them and make sure that that's set. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this stream here and take a small break and get these exported over and go yell at Valkyrie for her incredible progress in my missions. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. Remember, thank you. I appreciate it, Willie, because I would not have remembered. Thank you for reminding me to set that poll over there. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. Go operate operationally. Enjoy the rest of your day or night. Cheers. And I might see you later. We'll see.